We'll begin with the recent development, the discontinuation of the illegal entry case against Mehul Choksi, because it is calculated to conceal government's involvement in the kidnapping conspiracy surrounding Mehul Choksi. It comes almost a year later. Today is actually the 23rd of May, 2022, so it's exactly 1 year ago that Mehul Choksi was kidnapped from Antigua and Barbuda, tortured and ferried to Dominica against his will. And the decision of the Director of Public Prosecution to discontinue the matter of illegal entry reveals what we will see today as a failed attempt to cover up the government's participation in the use of kidnapping, torture, and forced rendition to violate the rule of international law. You will see this afternoon how clear it is that the Skerrit regime colluded with agents of the ruling party of India to have Mehul Choksi kidnapped in Antigua and Barbuda, where he resided as an economic citizen and was before the court on an extradition charge, and smuggle him into Dominica from where he would be flown to India. You will note this afternoon that this matter of illegal entry was never the plan A. The plan A was declare him a prohibited immigrant and deport him immediately. You will see how the switch from that to the illegal entry came about, and then all of the machinations around that involving actors of state that decided to go to lie and to disgrace themselves and to behave in the most dishonest manner in support of shielding the Roosevelt Skerrit administration. Reference was made to a police investigation in Antigua. The report from that investigation is dated the 25th of June, 2021. And here's what it says, quote, "The further along this investigation progresses, the more the facts are aligning with Mr. Choksi's version of events that led to his appearance in the state of Dominica. The plethora of real and circumstantial evidence makes it clear that a case of kidnapping with broad collusion among multiple co-conspirators exists," end of quote. That is the Antigua police. Mr. Choksi himself had testified in his June 2021 application for bail before the magistrate's court that, quote, "During the night of Monday, 24th May, 2021, I was taken from the yacht which transported me to Dominica and handed over to what appeared to be a Coast Guard boat. The Coast Guard boat then transported me to a wooden marina. When I got to the wooden marina, the police was there. The chief of police introduced himself to me and told me that I was wanted by Interpol and that there was a red corner notice. I was told that I will be sent to India. I was taken from the wooden jetty to a parking lot. I was placed into a bus, and Sergeant Maxime sat next to me and introduced himself to me. This was the first time that I met and spoke to him. I now know him to be the investigating officer in this baseless charge of unlawful entry against me. I have not committed the offense of illegal entry into the Commonwealth of Dominica. In fact, I was kidnapped and brought here as part of a larger conspiracy to illegally deport me to India by circumventing the process of law." In the face of that testimony before the court, the Director of Public Prosecution, Sherma Dalrymple, dismissed the account as a falsehood because, as far as she was concerned, Mr. Choksi, quote, "did commit the offense of illegal entry and has been charged accordingly," end of quote. She swore the Director of Public Prosecution, on June the 7th, 2021, that Mr. Choksi's account, quote, is specifically denied as it is not true. I have, however, read the affidavit of Aline Maxime, and I say that the circumstances surrounding the applicant's arrest and detention were as deposed in the affidavit of Mr. Maxime, end of quote. What did Mr. Maxime say? Let me quote Mr. Maxime. On Monday, 24th May 2021, at about 11:30 p.m., I, together with other police and customs officers, were on border patrol on the north of the island. During the course of our official duties, we observed an individual seated on the bayside near the jetty at Tukari Bay. He appeared suspicious, and so we approached him. I asked the individual his name and address. He said his name was Choksi from Antigua. He also informed that he had been brought here on a boat. There being no boats in sight, I cautioned him and asked him whether he had any documentation regarding his visit to Dominica and the boat he had arrived on. There being no satisfactory response, I informed the individual that I was arresting him on suspicion of entering Dominica at a place not appointed as an approved point of entry. He then replied he was kidnapped and brought here. There was no sign of any alleged kidnapping, nor any alleged boat. However, as he alleged that he was kidnapped, I asked him whether he needed medical assistance, as I observed what appeared to be injuries on his body, end of quote. This is what the DPP relied on. But the statements of Sergeant Aline Maxime were categorically untrue. He did not find, nor did he arrest Mr. Choksi at Tukari Bay. In fact, pictures from the police leaked to mass in the cemetery and published place Mr. Choksi at the Cabrit's cruise ship berth. And those pictures confirm Mr. Choksi's story that he came via the Coast Guard vessel to land in Dominica on the wooden pier at the Cabrit's. So here you have the Director of Public Prosecutions in order to move forward with this illegal entry charge, supporting unequivocally the false statements of Sergeant Maxime, which were manufactured in the illegal entry case to cover up evidence confirming the involvement of the Skerrit regime in the kidnapping controversy. You had the handover at sea of Mehul Choksi to Dominica Border Patrol officials by those who kidnapped him in Antigua, tortured him, and ferried him to Dominica against his will. And you had the presence of the Chief of Police Lincoln Corbett at the time at the Cabrit's cruise ship berth on May 24th for the purpose of receiving Mr. Choksi and advising him that he would be sent to India. The statements of Maxime were to cover up those truths. While no questions of illegal entry were raised with the captain, 2 crew members and 2 passengers aboard the boat Calliope Avarn that brought Mr. Choksi undeclared into Dominica, the accused Indian diamond trader was detained by Dominica police on May 24th, 2021. Listen to this. He was declared a prohibited immigrant on May 25th, 2021 by the National Security Minister, who advised that he was not permitted to enter Dominica, and the Chief of Police had been instructed to make arrangements for his repatriation. At that point, as far as the Minister of National Security and the Chief of Police were concerned, there was no illegal entry offense, because their role in the conspiracy was to receive the kidnapped victim in Dominica and arrange to put him on a plane to India. The plane was late, and Loftus Dura broke the news on Q95 of Mr. Choksi's disappearance from Antigua and his appearance in Dominica before the deportation could take place quietly as planned. And then you have the head of immigration, Inspector Derek Hunter St. Rose, testifying in court that Mr. Choksi had no form of identification to ascertain his identity, age, place of residence, or place of birth. Accordingly, his identity remained a matter of grave concern until Friday the 20th May 2021, when a copy of an Antiguan driver's license was obtained and confirmed the identity of Mr. Choksi, end of quote. So immigration was unable to ascertain the identity of the person accused of illegal entry until May 20th, 2021, but 4 days earlier, the Minister of National Security and the Chief of Police were making plans for the deportation of Mehul Choksi. You see what is happening here? The plan A to deport fails, so they go to plan B, which is illegal entry. They had a problem in the court as to the length of time that they kept Mehul Choksi without charging him, because they have the 72-hour limit that they're bound by under the Constitution. And in order to get past that, they're cooking up all sorts of stories now that they didn't know who he was, and they had to confirm his identity when they knew long ago that they were going to put him on a plane and send him back to India. The plane was late. The same day that immigration confirmed the identity of Choksi, the aircraft to fly him to India, the Bombardier Global 5000 jet of Qatar Executive Airlines, arrived in Dominica with agents of the government of India. The A7CEE landed at Melville Hall at 1:16 p.m. on that Friday, May 20th, from Madrid, Spain. It left Doha, Qatar, the day before, Thursday, May 27th, for Delhi. That same day, the court was hearing a habeas corpus application from the lawyers of Mehul Choksi. It went to Delhi, India, and then Madrid, and then came to Dominica, and then remained in Dominica until June the 3rd, 2021. The Antigua police report places Mr. Gurdip Bath and Miss Barbara Harabik at the top of the list of suspects in the kidnapping of Mr. Choksi. And that list also include Gurjit Bandal, Gurmit Singh, and Leslie Farogai. Those are the suspects listed in the Antigua police report. Gurdip Bath is the head of CS Global, the exclusive marketer of Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program that has received hundreds of millions of dollars in commissions from the sale of Dominican passports. Gurdip Bath took Roosevelt Skerritt to India in February of 2016 and arranged for him to receive an honorary doctorate from a university in the Punjab. On the night of the kidnap in Antigua, 23rd of May 2021, exactly 1 year ago, Gurjit Bandal and Gurmit Singh conducted the forced transfer of Mr. Choksi by boat to Dominica, while Gurdip Bath, Barbara Harabik, and Leslie Farogai arrived in Dominica from Antigua on executive air charter flight 8P EAL at approximately 8:40 and met with members of cabinet at the Kempinski Hotel in Portsmouth. Members of cabinet received one, confirmation that Mr. Choksi was kidnapped and his abductors were bringing him to Dominica by boat for airlift to India as planned. And two, instructions on next steps once the kidnapped victim arrived in Dominica. And Matt, I don't know if you remember, but there was no annual parley with the Prime Minister on Sunday the 23rd of May 2021. He was otherwise engaged. The evidence is clear that law enforcement authorities in Dominica acted under the direction and control of the Dominica Cabinet of Ministers that placed itself under the influence of India's governing party. Mr. Choksi was in obedience to the rule of law in the jurisdiction of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. He did nothing wrong in Dominica. He was brutalized and brought here against his will. Yet, judicial officers in Dominica ridiculed the compelling judicial logic of an order to have him returned to his home and country of citizenship, an OECS member state, from where he was unlawfully removed and where he is engaged in extradition proceedings. And so, with the police investigators in Antigua confirming the kidnap and requesting facilitation to interview border agents and investigators in Dominica, as well as the British-based suspects, the truth has been closing in. And the decision of the Director of Public Prosecution to discontinue the illegal entry matter is nothing but a Skerrit regime move to extricate itself from the scandal. The notification from the Director of Public Prosecution to the Magistrates Court on Friday reads, whereas Mehul Choksi was charged for that he, on the 24th day of May 2021, at Tukari Bay, Tukari in the parish of St. John in the Commonwealth of Dominica, did enter illegally into the Commonwealth of Dominica at a place to wit Tukari Bay, Tukari not approved as a point of entry. Now take notice that in accordance with the provisions of Section 72(2)(c) of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica, I do hereby discontinue the above-mentioned proceedings against the said Mehul Choksi. What is it that the Director of Public Prosecutions all of a sudden knows now that she did not know 1 year ago? She is now telling you that the statements that she made, unequivocally supporting the false statements of Aline Maxime,
investigator,
are no longer sustainable. And they would like to run away from that. They would like to put it to sleep. They'd like everybody to forget about it. So now, let Mr. Choksi go, leave him in peace. Because we now know he never came in to Tukari Bay. As the police said, he came in via the Cabrit's cruise ship berth. And he was truthful in his representation that he met the chief of police there. And the chief of police told him that they were going to send him back to India, which would have been consistent with the position of the National Security Minister at the time that declared him a prohibited immigrant. There was nothing about illegal entrant. It was prohibited immigrant to be deported. Not illegal entrant to be brought before the court, tried, fined, whatever else. So this is a matter of extreme importance to the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica, because it is conduct by a government that places the country in the category of a rogue state. So it cannot be simply swept under the carpet by the withdrawal of the charges against Mehul Choksi. If this was a normal country, we would be demanding an urgent and full criminal investigation into the circumstances of Choksi's arrival and detention in Dominica, as well as the role played by various public officials involved. Justice must be done. Unfortunately, this is not a matter in which we can seek resolution from a local legal system that justifies each and every act of ruling party criminality, nor can we depend on appropriate action from a president functioning with a moral code that glorifies the high crimes and misdemeanors of the Skerrit regime. So the country belongs to the people. The government is employed by the people. The people must act. The people must stand up in the public interest and do whatever is necessary to be done, including bringing on board the assistance of the international law enforcement community to discontinue the employment of the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, the Director of Public Prosecution, the Chief of Police, and all the police officers and other public officers who participated in this sordid conspiracy to commit crimes against humanity.